What is up, guys? I'm Hubsmash, and welcome to my Sombra guide. We're just going to talk about Sombra, we're going to talk about her kit, her pros and cons, and some general tips or things to be mindful of when playing her. So let's just get right into her kit. We're going to talk about her weapon first. It's a 60-round SMG that takes 3 seconds to unload. So it fires 20 rounds per second at, I think it's 2.4 to 8 damage, according to the wiki anyways. And damage begins to fall off at 15 meters, and the gun takes about 1.5 seconds to reload. So if we compare it to something like Tracer's weapons, which is probably the closest we can get, we're going to notice similarities. It has similar, almost instant spread that's applied after the first round or two, and this can make the weapon unusable in a burst fire form. So you're not going to be standing far back and bursting at them like a soldier does. But another thing we can compare is the damage. So Tracer's guns fire 20 rounds per second each, and she can unload 40 rounds in 1 second. So both heroes can kill a 200 HP opponent in a similar number of rounds, but it takes much less time for Tracer. So Tracer can kill a 200 HP target with no headshots in under 1 second, assuming everything hits, and Sombra can do it in a bit over 1 second. So the time to kill is fairly high, but it's not as high as somebody like Tracer, right? Overall, her weapon's fairly average. If we compare it to someone like Soldier 76, he can kill a 200 HP target in about 1 second exactly. If we're being totally honest, her weapon's probably subpar for an offense character. Having said that, that doesn't mean she's bad, not by any stretch. So let's get into her actual abilities and passives. Her passive is called Opportunist, which I think is fitting because I think that's kind of how she needs to be played. Basically, this lets her see her targets through walls if they're below 50% health. It's pretty sweet because she can identify easy targets for her. Good targets when she's making her way to the backlines. If she can't do it herself, she can call it out to a Genji or Tracer or a Winston or etc. And just say, you know, so-and-so's low. It's important to note that her teammates don't see this information. She has to relay it to them. It's a pretty solid passive, but one that can rely on decent communication. Let's talk about her hack now. Hacking an enemy is your right click by default, and it takes 1.2 seconds to complete. If you take damage during this time, it's going to be interrupted. It will cancel channeled abilities and cause enemy heroes to be unable to use any of their cooldowns. Passives and primary fire will be unaffected by the hack. So that means Reaper can still pick up health globes and stuff like that. Additionally, any enemies hacked will display if they have their ultimate or not. So you can't see how much charge they have, you just see whether or not they have their ultimate. It also shows their health for 20 seconds. Health packs are hacked for 60 seconds and cause small health packs to respawn in 2.5 seconds and large ones to respawn in 3.5 seconds, which is a pretty significant difference to what they normally spawn at. They can't be picked up by enemies after you hack them as well. Something to note, though, with this, any people, including you, healed by using your hacked health packs gives you ult charge. So hack the planet. It has a 12-second cooldown, though, so use it wisely. Next is her stealth. It's called Thermoptic Camo. It has a 6-second duration and a 6-second cooldown once it deactivates. During your stealth, you run faster than usual, and it seems to be about the same as Soldier's sprint, maybe a bit faster, it's hard to say. One of the things that makes this ability so it's not broken is that there's a delay coming into stealth where the animation's pretty clear that you're stealthing, and also if you take even a single point of damage, you get broken out early. So you kind of have to stealth outside of the line of sight of the enemies, and then you have to be very wary of like where these guys are spraying all their damage at. So you can't necessarily just run straight through the choke because you're stealthed. You kind of still have to use your mind a little bit. You're also semi-detected if you run close enough to an enemy. It's pretty easy for them to just shoot you and remove the stealth. So translocators next. It's Sombra's mobility ability. Aside from her ability to hack things, this is what really makes her kit what it is. It has a 6-second cooldown after it's used to be, and it's up for 15 seconds. So it teleports you back to wherever you placed it, but the animation does give you away quite a bit. So that's its weakness there. Finally, we have her ultimate, EMP. Think of this ability as her right click and a big AoE around Sombra, and it's basically instant. There's no counterplay to this ult other than killing Sombra if you think she has ult and is going for the EMP. The animation's too quick to interrupt in any reliable way, though I believe it can be interrupted if you hit it at the right time, if you hit a hook or something right as she starts her ult. This is what makes Sombra strong, but also requires coordination and follow-through from your team. That means Sombra can be a tough pick right now for solo queue because her ult, while super powerful, needs the follow-up of your team, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. We discussed her lethality or lethality with her weapon earlier, and with her higher time to kill, she's going to need help bringing down the team. The extra effect of the ult is that it also destroys barriers and shields, which is a huge thing to help a team engage into a fight or stop and engage from the enemy. So now that we've figured out what she does, let's talk about some pros and cons. First off, her pros. So hacking. An unaware and ability-reliant target like Reinhardt is extremely disadvantaged by a hack. That's pretty clear because he can't use his shield, right? Or he can't charge or anything. She's pretty mobile. She's got easy positioning with flanking and with stealth and the translocator. And her EMP counters multiple ults, destroys shields, makes teams panic. And her opportunist passive helps weed out the weak targets. Her primary weapon damage, for cons, her primary weapon damage is subpar. She's got no damage abilities. Her ult requires the team to follow up. Even her ult doesn't do any damage, although it does break shields. So any shields that are up on like the Zarya or something will be destroyed. So, and if I'm seeing a lack of follow through on her ult at Diamond, I'm going to guarantee it's worse in the lower ranks, so this is also a con. But a brief note on that, like, I know many ults require team follow-up, but Sombra's is fairly short in duration, but it's also not as loud and visually flashy as some of the other ults, I think. Zarya or Mei come to mind. Maybe this will be better in a few weeks. Maybe it's just because people don't expect the ult, they don't know how to deal with it. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully it gets better. But let's get into the tips. Learn the timing of your cooldowns. Sombra's kit basically feels like a cooldown dance, and that might sound kind of bad, but hear me out. She has this unique playstyle where she stealths, drops a translocator, unstealths, engages, and teleports away, and attacks, and does all these things, and it all happens in approximately 15 to 20 seconds. So you basically circle this rotation, which means you don't have the fight uptime that other heroes have, but if you're doing it right, you're going to know your cooldowns, you're going to minimize the downtime between engages, and it's actually really fun when you're playing her. And I'm going to refer to this set of steps as Sombra's sequence, because it's generally the same thing, and it's generally a hit-and-run playstyle built up around her cooldowns and managing them. For clarity, I'll go over exactly how you want to do it. Her sequence is fairly straightforward once you get the hang of it. You want to make an effort to have as much attack or fight uptime as possible, and your start point will generally be at a medkit, but it doesn't have to be, but there's a few reasons for that, which I'll talk about later. First step is to hack the medkit. Second step, stealth and start to run towards the fight you're going to take. Then you want to turn, throw the translocator back to the medkit. It doesn't break stealth to use the translocator, and you want to maximize the translocator's time up. So that's why you do it while you're stealthed and starting to run away. Once you get to where you want to be, you unstealth and you engage. Maybe you hack a target, maybe you spray at some guys, maybe you kill something. You do your best to just stay out in the open for at least 6 seconds. That just allows for your stealth to come back up. And then teleport back to your start, heal on the hacked medkit, and repeat. The hacked medkit will give you all charge, which is also something that you want to keep doing. The reason you want to start at a medkit the majority of the time is you want health from the medkit, you want to be hacking medkits, you want to gain all charge from other people using the medkit, you want to teleport back to somewhere that you can be sure is fairly safe. There might be an enemy there, but you should have an advantage with the medkit they can't use. Always use comms to call out your EMP plans. Make sure the team has position and cooldowns needed to engage and go for it. And there are a few ways to engage the EMP, like to get in position for EMP. But I find usually the best way is to stealth behind with translocator not yet placed. And as stealth is running out, throw your translocator back to where your team is or somewhere else that's safe. When stealth breaks, you be in a position to EMP and go for it. Your team is already aware that you're going to EMP, and hopefully they follow up. Then you start cleaning up. If things get hairy, do not be afraid to teleport out. It's a big mistake that Sombras make to try and sit in the EMP team and DPS. Because, I mean, think about it. You got to be in their team to EMP them. Like, they're going to turn around. You just ruin their day. They're going to turn around and they're going to focus you. Don't be afraid to get out of there. When you use your ult, it's meant to set up the enemy team for your team to mangle them. It's not meant for you to score a whole heap of kills solo, and you're not going to be able to. You might get one target, but what you want to do is just EMP, maybe do something if there's an opportunity, but generally speaking, you're going to be having your finger hovering on that E key so you can get out of there. If you EMP a team and just hang out firing, you're going to die 9 times out of 10. Your hack range is pretty far, and you can get to some weird angles with your translocator and stuff, so try to get unexpected locations and hack the enemy Reinhardt, allowing your team to engage. There are other targets that you might want to hack as well. You can hack turrets and things, but that's kind of what you want to do. EMP on targets like Zenyatta, Zarya, Symmetra, it removes their shields, so it destroys their shields, right? This means Zenyatta has 50 health if he's been hit with the EMP, so if they have a Zenyatta on their team, just take him out as soon as you EMP. Keep in mind, he can't ult, he can't do anything to stop you. So you want to EMP, take out the Zenyatta, and then get out. And that's always a great way to do it. Translocator can be used at any distance, so don't be afraid to throw that thing and then run as far as you want and get back there. Don't be afraid. Don't forget to place your translocator, and don't forget that it has a timer. Somehow this is just hard for me, and so I'm going to reinforce it here. I don't really know why I do this, but I just forget to put it down. I get excited or something. I don't really know, but try not to do that. If you guys found this helpful, I'd appreciate it if you click that like button. It really helps at the channel. Also, consider subscribing for more Overwatch stuff. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and take care.